All right, I had to unplug the mic. The mic is still working. Okay, great. So, I'm doing this retrospective, like the title says, about my live streams. I'd been doing my live streams for 2 or 3 months, I think, and I got through about half of that Elements of Computing Systems book. And I was really enjoying it. The streams were really good for me. It was kind of like a social experiment in a way where, I guess for me, where I felt like I was working with someone even though no one was technically there. And I think that was really good about doing the live streams. I know whenever I did a live stream, I would get extremely relaxed. I'd start yawning, my eyes would water up, and I was sleeping really well because I was doing that, I think. So there was that aspect of just sort of putting everything else aside and focusing on one thing, which is hard for me. And since I have stopped streaming, which was either in December or January, I have been diagnosed with ADHD officially. I thought I might have it for a long time, and so I am exploring how to work without stress, because that's how I would usually manage my ADHD, is to be how I'd get things done is just like, procrastinate, make it extra challenging, get into hyperfocus, get very stressed, and knock it out of the park. And since I joined Toastmasters, this is something else that's going really well. I joined Toastmasters partly out of not wanting to say filler words because I was watching these live streams back and going, man, I'd really like to work on not saying filler words so much, and to learn how to tell a story or make a good YouTube video. That was the other thing. And I think I really learned some good tricks, and just like I'm starting to notice structure kind of like I would as a songwriter. Like, oh, this is how this song is structured. Now I'm noticing in my own speeches, since I've written them, I kind of, you have the hook that pulls the audience in, you have the surprising finding, and then you tell as many stories as you can, you tell as many jokes as you can, and then you try to bring it all together at the end in a satisfying way that leaves the audience better than they were when they started watching. So that's going really well. I think I'm getting what I need from Toastmasters, and I wanted to talk about how it's getting close to noon, so the sun is getting high. So I'm losing my shade, but doing these live streams has been really great for me. But I had this ulterior motive to try to make a great YouTube video. So as I was live streaming, when I got towards the section of the book that was just becoming lots of text, walls of text, I started getting upset because prior to that, I had been visualizing things as much as I could, and then it suddenly became really challenging to visualize things. And I was also reaching some of the limits of my programming ability. And the book is 20 years old, so there's a lot of object-oriented stuff in it, and it's kind of distasteful nowadays. But the main thing was that I felt like the videos weren't good anymore. And I felt like I started out and the live streams were really good. And I felt like I could have been like, I feel like if you had watched those earlier videos, you might have learned something. And then in the new videos, it was just like you're watching somebody struggle and write hacky code to solve these problems, which I recognize now as fine. And it's okay that these videos were not good because they were good for me. And so I'm going to start live streaming again just for me because it's good for me. And through that, eventually it'll be a way of getting my reps in, getting more comfortable on camera. And if I really want to teach compiler technology, I can figure out how to do that effectively some point in the future, although that's unlikely because there's a lot of great teachers out there. So that was why I stopped streaming. And that's why I'm going to start back up. And I want to not have it take over my life. So I want to limit the amount of time that I stream. And there was this other thing that I was doing where because I was streaming, I was pretending like I was an expert at these things, or I at least felt this pressure to be prepared for the streams. And so I was reading the chapter before I got on live stream. And then when I got to the part where I was really struggling and I was unhappy with the code and I was unhappy with the lack of visualizations, I lost my train of thought there, and that's okay too. But where was I going with that? Right, when I got there, I ended up going to the library and checking out this book on Java because I never really got good at Java and I never really liked it. And I was thinking, if I'm building a version of Java from this book, you build a version of Java eventually through like the 10 stages of compilers or whatever it is. Well, I should know Java. And so I was reading this book on Java, and I also got this book on C and Python or whatever, and so I was just like in hyperfocus, sort of branching out way too far, and it became overwhelming, and I kind of crashed and just gave up on everything because I was doing too much. But I could have done that stuff on camera. Just like I'm doing homework here, so it's fine to just do that stuff on camera and not make it like it has to be a good video. I'm in the research phase, and I think it's still useful, could be useful for someone to see how long it takes to make something good. And that's one of the things I discovered from writing my Toastmasters speeches, is that I was spending 10 to 20 hours per 7-minute speech in the just like writing, editing, polishing, practicing, and punch up. And I think it's probably comparable effort to make a really good YouTube video. I would expect it to take probably 100 hours to make a really good instructional YouTube video in the style of like Veritasium or 3 Blue 1 Brown. And I decided to stop judging myself because, coding, even even with the help of AI, coding is hard and it takes time. And when you're coding and making videos, that takes tons of time. So I'm going to accept that I'm not a super genius and I'm not perfect, and I can forgive myself for that. And I still want to participate in the world, and I still want to make cool things. I want to make things that inspire others, and I want to have an interesting life. And I'm an artist, and I want to make cool art, and I want to try things. And that's the other thing that I'm working on, is the current object of my hyperfocus has been learning bass guitar better. And I've never really, I'm working on my health too, and my hands have never, I wouldn't say never, but they get worn out easily, so I'm unable to practice like the long hours that you'd probably need to practice to get to a high technical level on an instrument. And so I'm exploring how to make a smaller, easier to play bass guitar, and hoping to get back into songwriting too, and just accepting that it's who I am, and I'm going to find a way to make that work as a way of making a living. So there's a lot of exciting things about the future, and today I felt myself getting to that same sort of, I could do anything. And then when you try to do everything, you don't get anything done. And that's what I'm struggling with, is how to commit to things. I still want to be an explorer, but I want to be able to commit to things and finish things, and to manage my stress in a healthy way. So I think that's the conclusion of this video, is live streaming has really been helping me. So I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to get back into it. And there's a lot of other things I'd like to get into, but today I was just sitting out in the yard doing nothing. And I know that meditation really works for me. So I'm going to get back into that too. just so that I can finish some of the things I start and learn to have attention without tension. Learn to finish things without being so stressed out. And when I get stressed out, to realize it and to develop strategies to relax. And hopefully I can start digesting better. Hopefully I can start sleeping better. And I'm in a mindset of a solution mindset, but also a mindset of acceptance. Not every experiment has a result that you're hoping for, and that's okay. And it's a process, and it takes time. So that's it for this live stream. I'm going to get back into it. I'm excited. And make sure to remember to get out the internet, get outside, and take back your attention, because these platforms are eating your attention.